those foundations are gone. Sorry.
Welcome to Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy. You know, in all the hours and hours of MCU films and shows that have been released, we've seen a lot of different planets. There's Earth, Xandar, Vormir, Titan, the Thanos retirement village, plus all the other realms of Asgard. But one of these planets is not actually a planet. Asgard. It's a giant floating disk with waterfalls that flow gracefully into outer space. So how could something this small have enough mass to produce the gravity that we see on Asgard?
That thing does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Well, a couple of Redditors named Professor of Lies and Paramecium Antic have a theory that I think explains everything. Asgard was home to a celestial seed that destroyed its original planet. Now I'm going to spend this video going into way more detail, but this theory explains so much about Odin, Hela, Norse mythology, the Infinity Stones, Guardians of the Galaxy, Thanos, and the Infinity Gauntlet. So just to back up a bit, in case you didn't see the Eternals or need a refresher. Now if you have seen the Eternals recently and you don't need a refresher, you can skip to the next chapter. So the Eternals revealed that everything in the universe is created by space giants called the Celestials. Celestials shape the raw energy of the universe into planets, stars, and galaxies. So, you like that screen that you're looking at right now? Think a Celestial. The Celestials breed by impregnating planets with baby embryos. These embryos then feed off the intelligent life on the planet. When there are enough people on the world, the Celestial baby is able to hatch. Now, this destroys the planet, but I happen to know there's a little baby Celestial out there shaping up new planets. Now the Eternals are robots who were created to defend the people on each of these planets as they grow larger civilizations. And, spoiler alert for the Eternals, that movie ends with them betraying the Celestials and aborting a Celestial mid-hatch. And this is where the theories of Professor of Lies and Paramecium Antic come into it. They theorize that Asgard was once an entire planet that was home to a Celestial seed. This would have been a long time ago during the reign of Thor's grandfather Bor, or back when Odin was a young man, all set on a conquering.
We were unstoppable. I was his weapon in the conquest that built Asgard's empire.
Now, Asgardians are a very advanced civilization, and their people live for an extremely long time.
You know, I'm 1,500 years old.
We're born, we live, we die, just as humans do.
Give or take 5,000 years.
So, with a life expectancy like that, their planet would have become overpopulated. There would have been more than enough intelligent life for a celestial baby to feed off of. In fact, maybe Asgard was originally like a giant planet, like Krypton, the size of a gas giant. So it would have taken them longer to make enough people to hatch a space baby that big. And then, the emergence happens, and some Asgardian leader, for simplicity's sake, let's just say it's Odin, realizes that they're unable to stop this from happening, unless he follows Thanos' playbook.
Genocide.
Paramecium Antic goes on to theorize that Odin was able to save Asgard by using the Space Stone. See, we know the Space Stone was once in Asgard's possession because Odin left it in a vault on Earth.
The tesseract was the jewel of Odin's treasure room.
Now this is where I'm going to rewind a bit to Guardians of the Galaxy. In a flashback, we see a Celestial called Aeson the Searcher mow down the entire population of a planet with the Power Stone. Next we see a group of people, who might have been Eternals, sharing the power of the Power Stone. So if these were Eternals, then they could have been using the Power Stone to fight off a Celestial, maybe to stop the emergence of a planet they were guarding. I actually have another theory about that which ties into Thanos and I'm going to address later on. So when the Asgardian emergence happens, Odin is able to use the Space Stone to hold Asgard together, or at least to hold together the remnants of the planet that he would form into this floating disk. We've seen in the MCU that the energy of the Space Stone can be imbued within a person, and that energy remains even after the stone was destroyed. For instance, Carol Danvers and Pietro both drew powers from the Infinity Stones, and Carol's powers did not disappear when Thanos snapped the stone to atoms. So Odin would have imbued this new Asgard with the energy of the Space Stone, so it would always stay together. And get this, maybe Asgard continued to use these same energies to power the BiFrost.
Leave the bridge open would unleash the full power of the BiFrost and destroy Jotunheim with you upon it.
The BiFrost is a teleportation device that works a lot like the Space Stone. They both shoot out sky beams to create punctures in space-time. So the BiFrost could be a technology that is unique to Asgard. It will only work in that realm because it draws from the Space Stone energy emanating from its core to create these wormholes. But that's not all. Remember this?
There are other parts of Asgard, ways known only to a few.
One, actually.
Maybe because Asgard was formed with the Space Stone, time and space are a little wibbly-wobbly in its core. So there can be pockets that can teleport you instantly billions of light years away. Now Loki, being a precocious youth, discovered these pockets deep in the bowels of Asgard. But this also fits in perfectly with the secret history of Asgard. Now, we saw in Thor Ragnarok that Odin and Hela originally conquered the 9 realms.
One by one, the realms became ours.
Odin then covered all this up and exiled Hela. Now, we actually have a video coming out soon about Odin's ties to the Soul Stone and Hela. Be sure to subscribe to check that out. Now, there's been a theory for a long time that Odin originally tried to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet during his years of conquest. First, he possessed the Space Stone, and he also had a deep working knowledge of the stones.
There are relics that predate the universe itself. What lies within her appears to be one of them.
Odin talks about the Reality Stone like he was once going out there and trying to find it. Now, after Asgard does recover the ether in the Dark World, the first thing Odin does is send it away, because
It is not wise to keep 2 Infinity Stones so close together.
So in that Hela Soulstone video I just talked about, we theorized that Odin created the soul for a soul condition on the stone as a way to imprison Hela in Soul World. There's also a clue that Odin wanted the Infinity Stones with the Infinity Gauntlet itself. Thanos commissioned Eitri to make it, and Eitri was Odin's #1 weapon maker, the forger of Mjolnir. Then we also have the Infinity Gauntlet that's actually in Odin's throne room.
Odin's treasures.
Fake.
Yes, it was a fake, but it could have been a replica, a reminder of Odin's time as a power-hungry despot. So, at some point, Odin ends his quest for the stones, which might have coincided with him becoming peaceful and exiling Hela. But we also know that Hela did not go quietly. She killed nearly every Valkyrie. So, what if Hela threatened Odin with the destruction of his new Asgard, saying, "If I can't rule it, I'll destroy it"? So Odin realizes that the Space Stone could be used to destroy his new realm that he created. Basically, if the Space Stone can put it together, then it can take it apart. And this also goes back to what he said about Mjolnir.
As a weapon to destroy, or as a tool to build. 'Tis a fit companion for a king.
So he hides the Tesseract on Earth, where the lowly mortals would never have the knowledge to use it against Asgard. And the reason he takes it back at the end of the Avengers is because he realizes that Earth is no longer the safest place for this Infinity Stone. Give the mortals a couple hundred more years, they might be able to use the stone to attack his realm. So we've established that Odin probably was chasing Infinity Stones. Back to the celestial emergence theory. It also fits in perfectly with Norse mythology. In Norse myth, the first being is called Argumir, or simply Ymir. Ymir was a giant who was killed by his children, including Thor's grandfather Bor. Then the children made the world and the heavens out of the flesh of Ymir. And this is just like the new Asgard. It would have been created from the ruins that remained after the Celestials hatching. So from now on, I'm going to call the Asgardian Celestial Ymir. But here's the thing, there is already precedent for this in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In ancient Babylonian myth, the original oldest god was called Tiamat. Then the god of Babylon, called Marduk, slew her and created the world and the heavens from Tiamat's body. Are you catching on? The Celestial in the Eternals, Tiamat, was named after Tiamat. In the movie, this symbolizes that the children of the Elder God, the Eternals, are slaying it, and they're creating a new universe from its corpse. A universe where people are free from celestial rule. But Professor of Lies on Reddit takes this theory even further. Maybe when the Celestial hatched, Odin was able to kill it by cutting off its head, and that is where Nowhere came from.
The severed head of an ancient celestial being.
And this would leave a disembodied infant celestial floating around space, which could be Ego.
No, I'm pretty sure the Ego is like millions of years old.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the movie.
Over millions of years, I learned to control the molecules around me.
All right, point taken, good catch, you're very smart.
Doug is very smart.
So, forget the ego thing. Let's just talk about how all of this connects to Thanos, the Eternals, and Titan. The ending of the Eternals threw an interesting spin onto the Mad Titan's origin.
The great adventurer, Star Fox, the royal prince of Titan, brother of Thanos.
They're brothers? Well, in the comics, Thanos and Eros are brothers, and they're also Eternals. But in the comics, the Eternals aren't space robots. They can actually breed and stuff. So, in the MCU, it is very likely that Thanos was an Eternal, which is why he lived so long and had the power to wield the Infinity Stones.
No other being has ever had the might to wield not one, but 2 Infinity Stones.
Now, we made a video a while back theorizing about Thanos' real motive. We called the video Thanos Was Right. And the real reason that he wanted to kill off half the life in the universe was to stop the Celestials from emerging around the galaxies. Eternals co-writer Kaz Faripo even admitted as much to Screen Rant. If you recall, in Infinity War, Thanos takes you to his homeworld. He's like, this is the home planet that was devastated by growth, by radical growth in the universe. There was definitely a distinct connection point to Thanos and to everything that had happened. So even though it's not made explicit in this movie and all of this could change, the screenwriters are basically saying that Thanos was an Eternal who wanted to stop the Celestials. Then Thanos appeals to his other Eternals, or the rulers of Titan.
And when we faced extinction, I offered a solution.
But it turns out that they were all unable to stop the emergence. So imagine this. The Eternals on Titan, including Eros, know that a Celestial is about to hatch. They want to stop it. But there isn't time to get everyone off Titan.
Space colonization could take decades.
So what do the Eternals on Titan do? They heard tales of Asgard, of Odin, using an Infinity Stone to save his world from an emergence. So the Elders get together and decide to use a single stone, the Power Stone, to stop them. But space robots can't use the stone alone. They have to share the power among them. That's right. These people in the Guardians of the Galaxy Flashback are some of the Elders of Titan. Thanos wasn't with them because he thought the plan was stupid and wouldn't work.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
And his brother Eros wasn't there because, well, he's kind of a selfish playboy who was probably seducing some alien lady.
Eros.
This green bitch.
Also, notice that we see 8 people sharing the power of the stones. The Eternals travel to planets in groups of 10, so this could be 8 Eternals, with Thanos and Eros being marked absent. So, Eros and Thanos could be brothers in the same way that the Eternals are an extended family. But they are the only 2 surviving Eternals from this disaster on Titan. So what happened? Well, the Eternals try to use the Power Stone to stop the emergence, and it works. The Celestial does not hatch because Titan is still there. We've seen it. But using the Power Stone has devastating consequences. As we saw in the Guardians of the Galaxy Flashback, the stone wreaks havoc on all life, destroying the ecosystem of Titan. In our Thanos Was Right video, we pointed out that, in theory, the loss of mass in the core of Titan would have caused its loss of gravity.
It's 8 degrees off its axis. Gravitational pull is all over the place.
But the problem is, Titan didn't lose all of its gravity. It just has these weird pockets of less gravity, which
does not obey the laws of physics at all.
Unless what destroyed Titan was actually not caused by the emergence. It was caused by what the Titans did to stop the emergence. Using the Power Stone created rifts in space-time throughout the planet, causing pockets where the rules of space-time are bent, making life impossible. But Thanos would walk away from this disaster with a lesson learned. To stop the Celestials, he wouldn't need one Infinity Stone, he would need all of them. And he wouldn't share the power with others. He would create a single device to harness all the strength. And again, following the example set by Odin, he would commission Eitri to finish that project that Odin had started, the construction of the Infinity Gauntlet. Well, do you have any questions? What do you think of the theories? Let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.